What's going on, guys? I hope you are doing well. It is 6:03 p.m. Central Standard Time where I'm at. I just wanted to update you guys in what I'm seeing with the charts. Alright, so I'm going to get started with the S&P 500. We have been rallying for some time. Thankfully, we were able to sustain the trend within the rising channel. And yeah, we're on the precipice of attempting to hopefully break the resistance line right here. Because the S&P 500 is kind of like a precursor to the crypto markets. Now the charts, keep in mind, the charts don't necessarily look the same, but the sentiments are the same. So if price, tends to rally to the upside and it breaks, key levels and these pattern breakouts confirm, then you can expect Bitcoin to follow suit, whether it's to the upside or to the downside. But yeah, as of late, pretty much today we gapped up. And looks like we're about to touch the top of the Bollinger Band and also the top of this topside resistance from the descending broadening wedge, which is predominantly a bullish pattern. Also, what's interesting is that on the 4-hour, the 9 and 21 exponential moving average has turned blue for the cyan for the first time in a long time, and also the Bollinger Band's super trend is now to the upside. So that just means price is above the average. Usually when that happens, it's a good sign. Now, I would kind of heed some caution. We do have a gap right here. Let me circle it if you can't see it. We do have a gap right there. I'm a believer of gap theory, so eventually I feel that there will be a dump back down to close this gap all the way down to 3,970. But just the fact that we did take out this local high area is a good sign to me. Now, what I'm keeping my eye on is this upward sloping yellow line, because this was previous support all the way back to October, and yeah, pretty much in that time frame we have since lost it as a support line, and I will consider it more so as a resistance line. Not to worry though, in my opinion, I do feel like if we do break this downward sloping red dotted line right here, then we would, in theory, kind of test it as support and then continue moving on forward. But I would expect suppressive reactions along this line until further notice. I would need to see a 4-hour candle close above that yellow line to consider it support once again. But yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote in regards to the S&P 500. So far, so good. It's sustaining within this rising channel here. And yeah, all right, so I'm going to check out Bitcoin dominance. Now, it was interesting to see we did not get on the 4-hour get a candle close below this area to confirm the dump further, which I was kind of looking forward to alts outperforming Bitcoin, and don't get me wrong, some alts are actually outperforming, but overall dominance is more so in the favor of Bitcoin at this time. It was a nice little dump to the downside. It hit the Bollinger Bands. We had this bullish engulfing candle right here. Bullish engulfing candles are hard to ignore, frankly, and essentially, what I was looking for is if we were to see price break below this bullish engulfing candle, then I would have felt better to see alts significantly outperform Bitcoin. But since then, it's been pretty much half a day, and we got a higher low. So that is actually strong for the bullish case, frankly. And because price broke back into the pattern, and false breakouts happen more times than not, unfortunately. Pattern trading is not the end all be all. There are Bukowski. There's a phenomenal trading author by the name of Bukowski. I could probably link a reference in the description below. But essentially, he calculates false breakouts. False breakouts do happen in trading. It's just a part of the situation. You have to have a kind of safe what's the term I'm looking for? Fail safes in regards to these situations. Thankfully, you can't trade the BTC dominance, but it's more so a type of precursor in overall charts outside of this particular chart. But to my knowledge, topside resistance is still kind of holding up. I would much prefer to see candle closes above this to actually feel better about it. The markets are extra volatile right now. The banking system is kind of like hanging by a thread at this point. Bank runs have become that much more common. And on an international scale, I believe Credit Suisse is kind of dealing with something like that, which is one of the largest European banks. And I'll get into that later when we're on the Bitcoin chart. But for the most part, I would nullify this triangle pattern, the symmetrical triangle pattern, until further notice, and more so just focus on the Bollinger Bands and the horizontals at this time. So Bollinger Bands have been respected as support and resistance here, and I would argue that we might have another leg up from here because of the 9 and 21 exponential moving average cross. Given the Bollinger Bands, we did get one. Well, we had a cross down and then a cross up, but I guess you could constitute this one as an option here. But as you can see, the Bollinger Bands were acting as resistance here, and we did get a sharp dump to the downside. So that's something to take in consideration. Horizontals right now are where it is at in terms of where true supports are. It's kind of interesting here. This bullish engulfing candle matched up right with this wick area. So I would consider this somewhat of a significant percentage to track. Also, we do have some semblance up top right here. Probably we do get wicks. Yeah. So I'm going to turn off this Fibonacci for now. Kind of just focus in on this channel here. We did get an overextension right here. But we'll see. But we do have a range of, say, 1.2%. It's really tight. So when Bollinger Bands tighten up, I don't necessarily like to do anything. I like to just watch and see the reaction. But essentially, if this support breaks, then we're most likely going to see significant moves to the downside. If this resistance breaks, we're most likely going to see significant moves to the upside. Downside just means alts will go crazy versus Bitcoin. Upside, that means Bitcoin will continue its dominance and alts will bleed versus Bitcoin. All right, so now I'm going to get to the Bitcoin chart. All right, so this was a very interesting development. On the 4-hour time frame, I'd stated this in the last video. If we saw a candle break below 26.669K, we could expect lower. But the bulls came in. I mean, this was a buy zone. The bulls came in and we got this bullish engulfing candle that broke the 9 and 21 exponential moving average. That was concerning from a bearish perspective. And yeah, when we got this cross right here on the lower term time frames, I'm currently on the 4-hour, but I can show you the 24-minute time frame really quick in a bit. But yeah, we got this bullish cross right here. Now we are testing the top sides of the Bollinger Band, so I am expecting somewhat of a choppy sideways, but ultimately I would not mind seeing a back test here of support, whether if it's the 9 exponential moving average, the 21, or even this downward sloping line right here. Any confirmations of retest in those areas would make me feel that much more confident in adding capital to then realistically break above this resistance that's been long-standing pretty much since 20th of March. So far, the diamond pattern I would say is nullified due to losing this area as a local top. When we got this when we got this bullish engulfing candle right here, that completely nullified the diamond pattern in my opinion. Now, I would much prefer confirmations, like I had stated, to then kind of dollar cost average into this asset. But as it stands, let me go to the momentum oscillators. I am still heeding caution due to money flows still pointing to the downside. Okay. And also, this momentum wave here is starting to try to pinch, and that's a precursor to a sell signal. So now I wouldn't expect it to just completely dump and break any significant lines of support. I would more so just expect it as more so of a consolidation choppy range, maybe an opportunity to get in at a cheaper price. So that's kind of where I'm at with Bitcoin. But let me go into the 24-minute time frame. So around London time. And it was interesting because like my indicators, they woke me up. Yeah, so I want to zoom in here. I don't know if you're able to see it, how good of a quality of your image is right now, but I'm going to circle these little indicators. So what I love about Market Liberator Indicator is that it calculates, I don't know how it does it specifically, I have my theories, but it calculates when whales are buying and selling. So when whales are selling at significant volumes, Market Liberator prints a yellow X. Now, when whales are buying, it prints a literal arrow, a white arrow, and then a whale picture. Okay, on the chart. It's kind of cute, kind of funny, but it's significant data. But it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's to heed caution realistically because it's an anomaly of a buyer. It's literally like hedge fund level amount of volume being put in, or like a high net worth individual is like buying at large quantities. So that is why you have to respect these indicators. So right around resistance, because I was considering this resistance. I thought if price was going to break out, I was expecting this to kind of drag out to bore people, but it was an immediate bounce and just continuation to the upside. So I want to zoom in here on the 24-minute time frame. It's usually the lower term time frames that they catch these signals here, but we had an institutional buyer or a large net worth buyer right here, and another one right here, and that was the killer in regards to this resistance being valid. It was a bullish engulfing candle and large volume. And I'm going to turn off all my indicators just so you can see the volume. Well, actually, hold on. I turned off volume, of all things. Hold on. All right, so, and even the candles here. Now, just zoom in on these bars down here. The bars right here. I marked this area because this was a key area. So we had never seen bullish volume like this in a long time, in pretty much all the way back here, but even then there was more sell volume than buy volume. But just the fact we had seen these clusters of buy volume, purchasing volume right here, that was a really nice sign of actual validity. Now, how you can spot fake out breakouts is volume levels. That's why I have this indicator on here. I don't really talk about it much, but this does help out. So when you see this white line here, I know there's so many lines and stuff like that. Let me make the chart black here. So this white line right here, when you see the bars break above the white line, that just means that it is significant volume and it's breaking the trend, and you're more likely to see price break a pattern, break a channel of any kind. So that's why I do love my volume indicators still. I don't really talk about it much, but it really helps in regards to figuring out what is a false breakout and what is true. All right, so I'm going to get back to all my indicators here. I'm going to turn off support and resistance for now. But essentially, Bollinger Bands are tightening on lower term time frames. I don't like trading these. The margins are really crappy. Right now it's 1% to the upside and to the downside. I mean, you could scalp trade this, but I wouldn't risk it if you were to ask me. We are kind of finding some support right around this area at 28.2. That's rather interesting. 28.3 has been a significant level. in the past, so I would kind of constitute this area as maybe a potential pivot to ultimately try to break above this red box here of long-standing resistance. But ultimately, I'm keeping my eye on this. I mean, realistically, if I go to the 1 hour time frame, you could make an argument that this may be a bull flag. It's not enough data to really confirm regarding the bottom side of it. But we did have this line right here, and we do have this right here, but not too sure yet. I'm keeping my eye on that, but we did break some form of short-term trend. So yeah, maybe around here we do have this small descending broadening wedge pattern, which means they usually come up. Now the Bollinger Bands are still, well, they're no longer pointing to the upside, but they are kind of stagnant to the top side. So resistance with the Bollinger Bands and also my horizontal red box right here is aligning right here. There is some confluence there, so I would be cautious in regards to 28.8, but I would not be surprised price to actually pump to that area. Now, what would concern me is losing the 21 exponential moving average as support. Currently, it stands, and keep in mind this is a dynamic number. This does move with every hourly candle close, but at current junctures it is 28,162.5. So if price were to lose that as support, I would expect lower until maybe we turn previous resistance as new support. So as it stands, I am seeing this downward sloping line here as some form of support. And I do see this kind of short-term descending broadening wedge as a potential breakout. Now, there's still 40 minutes left to confirm a breakout, so I would heed caution. I would definitely heed caution right now, because if you see, we have one touch point right here. We got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've had a consistent downtrend for the past couple hours. But this particular candle is outside of it, so I gotta like watch out for that. But yeah, I mean, by the time this video is uploaded, this hourly candle will most likely be closed. But if the following candle does show that this is a support of significance, then I would consider price to actually test the top side of the Bollinger Bands up here. All right. I'm going to check out momentum waves. So funny enough, on the hourly, we're actually seeing a buy signal, and money flow is actually still creating. It actually created a higher high. As you can see, we have a low, and currently we're above that. So that's a good sign for price continuation to the upside. All right. Okay. So I'm going to move on from Bitcoin, and I'm going to go to Ethereum. Ethereum is showing similar strength. We've had an upside trend for some time. Price finally broke through the Bollinger Bands here and decided to confirm a move to the downside. Now, money flows actually has not created a higher high yet, but given how Bitcoin is acting, I would kind of watch out for that higher high. Money flow is still thick in the positive momentum, so I would not feel too concerned about that. Let me see. Let me go to the 37-minute time frame. No. 24-minute time frame does have a buy signal, interestingly enough, but price is currently below. Price is currently below the EMAs. I would consider downward slope right here, the downward slope right here as some significant line to keep an eye on. We do kind of have this like, you can kind of see it from the top side here, but yeah, probably like that, like some form of channel, that would make sense. You could make an argument that this is actually a potential bull flag, because if this top side is broken, then we could see a bull flag and actually continuation to the upside. So that's nice to see. We did take out this local low, high. We did take out this local high right here. The 786 did get lost. and actually we underperformed, and that does happen sometimes. There are front runs, so a lot of traders, um, if there is strong bullish market exuberance, the 618 doesn't always get tagged, but it is kind of like a line in the sand in regards to market sentiment. So if you see a front run, for example, a good indicator was actually realistically when the money flow flipped blue. Momentum waves are sometimes difficult to track, especially if market exuberance is kind of contrary to the trends. So I do tend to favor money flow over momentum waves. Now, obviously, they work in conjunction with each other, but if you have momentum pointing in the same direction as money flow, that's much more of a safer position to follow, if you kind of catch my drift. So, for example, money flow was pointing, it turned green, well, cyan or blue, teal. Uh, the money flow crossed the zero line right here, and money flow flipped bullish. Also on the bottom here, we did start getting these blue dots, which is a nice indicator. So we have three indicators on Market Liberator B, stating to pump to the upside. So personally, I did a scalp long. I didn't expect market exuberance this intensely. That usually happens, but hey, you can't really feel bad taking some profits. But yeah, I missed like 60% of this entire move. I mean, it's fine. I'm not complaining or whatever, but you have to heed caution in regards to certain things. So, I like to look at the higher term time frames, but realistically, the lower term time frames do help out in regards to kind of what's happening in terms of a micro instance. So, for example, here on the lower term time frames, you get more of these kind of like whale manipulation type of moves, where well, manipulation is kind of strong of a word. I would say uh, anomalous moves that buck trend, if you will. So I do like looking at those lower term time frames. Now, this is not financial advice, but in terms of recommendations, I like the 12-minute, I like the 24-minute, I like the 37-minute time frame. Now, for trends and stuff like that, I mean, I look at the hourly, the 4 hour, the daily, and the weekly, all that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, so obviously the trend of the weekly is stronger than the trend of the 1 hour. So that's something to take in consideration when you are looking at these charts. Okay, so I went a little off topic here, but currently as it stands, interestingly enough, Ethereum has lost the 21 exponential moving average as support. So because of that, I'm more so kind of taking a wait and see approach with Ethereum. I would much rather support or resistance be lost and back tested as either support or resistance to then kind of make a decision on that. All right, so now I'm going to move away from Ethereum and I'm going to go to Solana. Solana right here is showing some interesting things. We had this downward sloping channel. This isn't the actual. Oh no, this is actually, yeah. It's just really zoomed in. This is good actually. It broke a descending channel recently, so that's awesome. All right. Currently, it is back testing 21.34 as resistance. So I would not be surprised, frankly, if what we saw here on the hourly time frame is a sideways until decision, realistically. The 618 is acting as somewhat of a support at this time, in conjunction with the resistance line at 21.347. Realistically, if I were to see a 4 hour candle close above 21.3 or a 4 hour candle close essentially below 20.888, I would expect the following. So for the bullish breakout, I would realistically expect price to come all the way up until it meets this top side of this rising channel. I don't know if it's going to be here. I don't know if it's going to be here. I don't know if it's going to be here, but I will tell you this. We do have strong resistance at 26.5, and from that point on, uh, we kind of have, varying lines of resistance here. Now, how these channels work, I did state it in the last video, is that usually they pump all the way up to the top of the beginning of the channel, which is around right here. So I did this channel around the 4-hour time frame, I believe. Yeah. So as it stands on the 4-hour time frame, we are seeing some interesting bullish developments. We did get a 9 and 21 exponential moving average cross here, and this 4-hour candle has backtested the 9 exponential moving average, and since then it has been getting bought up. So that's nice to see if you're a Solana holder. I would much prefer, frankly, to just realistically just ride this wave up until I would say the mid $23 range, to then make a decision on either like taking profits or to consider opening like a small short or something like that. Not financial advice. Frankly, I don't really trade Solana like that. I'm more spot. I do spot positions with altcoins, and then maybe I'll leverage trade Ethereum or Bitcoin if I'm feeling risque. But anyway, let's see what else here. Yeah, this data's off at this time. But I'm gonna talk about quant. I haven't talked about quant in some time. Yeah, so when quant here broke the 0.382 as support, I've been pretty much just in the waiting game till 0.236. That was a significant loss in regards to support, but it kind of makes sense because we do have this box area right here from previous price action that may play a role in terms of future support. Now, if this box area is lost to support, and I know it's kind of wide range. Let me turn off the magnet. It wasn't supposed to get that wide. But yeah, if we do lose the 0.236, then we can expect a full retrace all the way back to 0, which is at 0.001687, which would be a significant dump to the downside. That's more of like a 60% loss of value. It happens with altcoins in particular versus Bitcoin. Now, the dollar terms of QNT are way more favorable than the BTC QNT pair. But in regards to altcoins, like why invest into altcoins if you can just buy Bitcoin? Like if your altcoin's not going to outpace Bitcoin, then why buy it, right? So Quant has had a history of outperforming at a massive level here. So right now it's kind of retracing a lot of its gains, but at this time I am noticing on a significant time frame, like the 4-hour, that the Bollinger Bands are tightening, and we are noticing a cross at this time. It hasn't necessarily crossed, but it is trying to cross. When Bollinger Bands tighten like this tight, and we're talking in terms of percentages of like 3%, that's pretty high for an altcoin. We can realistically eventually see a strong breakout either to the upside or to the downside. So I do intend to make a decision here. I'm either going to dollar cost average at this breakout retest of the EMAs, or I may open up a shorting position on the QNT BTC pair. Not too sure, but as it stands here on the 4-hour, we are seeing money flow kind of do a little bull action. Also on the 4-hour, we do have a buy signal as well with a momentum wave that is higher than the previous low. So that's very strong in terms of overall trend. As you can see, this entire wave has been, these little dots in the bottom have been red this entire time. We have been getting divergences here and there, but we did get some significant whale sales right here, and apparently there were huge holders and they just started dumping on the market. And when whales kind of come into the game, it's really hard to respect the indicators, especially momentum oscillators. Momentum oscillators are more so, they track the general trend. When you have significant whale players who own a large amount of a particular asset, they can literally move markets in any direction that they want. So that's why I'm a big fan of Market Liberator Indicator, because it shows you when these bulls and bears, with these whale bulls and bears, are pumping or dumping. So highly recommend Market Liberator Indicator. It's below. It's on literally on a donation basis. You can donate $1, and then you can get access to these indicators within a day. So you can get, the Market Liberator support and resistance indicator. You can get, Market Liberator A, which is, these. I have this augmented. If you get it, it's going to look significantly different than yours. I have mine color coded, and I have mine. It looks completely different than what it actually is. All right, this is more so customized to my liking. Also, you get Market Liberator B, and this is somewhat. Actually, no, I don't think I augmented this one much. I might have turned off a couple indicators here and there, but overall, I mean, this is pretty much the crux of what this is. Anywho, yeah, that's all she wrote regarding that. So I'm gonna move to Litecoin. I have been talking about Litecoin a little bit more as of late. There was a significant development here. We did break this support. I'm sorry, we did break this resistance line right here. We have since back tested it as support. The 618 is holding. Now, I would change my tune if we had a 4-hour candle close below the 618, and then maybe consider the lower levels of the 0.5 or the 0.382. As it stands, though, this is a bearish cross right here, so I am heeding caution. I would much rather see on lower term time frames, maybe like a 37-minute time frame, to cross, which it's trying to actually right here, which is interesting. So on the 37-minute time frame, I'm keeping my eye on Litecoin versus Bitcoin here. We did get a significant buy signal right here, and money flow is starting to create higher highs. So we had a low, then we had a high. So I haven't necessarily given up in regards to Litecoin performing better than some altcoins, but as it stands right now, Litecoin is one of my favorites in regards to hedging against Bitcoin. So if you're looking for an altcoin that has strong fundamentals, if you're looking for an altcoin that has in the past bear market outperformed Bitcoin at times, which 99% of altcoins cannot say that, I would highly research, not financial advice, right? I'm not saying buy Litecoin. I'm saying do your research on Litecoin. Look into Litecoin. Why are people buying it? Why is it performing? Why does the chart look significantly different than other altcoin charts? Why did it pump during the bear market? You know, and why is it currently dumping? And why is there even an opportunity for it to continue moving to the upside? So, that's just my 2 cents in regards to looking into researching altcoins. Like if they don't outperform Ethereum or if they don't outperform Bitcoin on a macro level, heed caution. With charting, you can't chart like an asset that's only been live for a month. Okay, you need like at least a year's worth of price action to really get a good assessment of an altcoin. So if your altcoin that you're thinking about has only been around since say like February, just be cautious, right? So if you're up and in the green, I applaud you, phenomenal, but just keep in mind that those assets can flip on you on a dime, so it's best to take profits when you can. All right, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I just want to say thank you so much for your time if you're still here. Yeah, I really appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, please feel free to reach out to me via DM if you want me to do a particular coin, or if you want me to kind of talk about any particular stocks that you may want to get a better assessment of. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time. Have a great one. Bye-bye.